Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Frame Podcast. We've been gone for a while. We've missed you, but we've just been a bit busy, so apologies for that. I've got Femi and Dewan as per usual, and I don't know about you guys, but I am baking. I'm just trying to sit in my room, and I'm so glad we haven't got visuals for this one. I know we said we were going to do it, but man, how you guys been? Because it's been a while, and we've got quite a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. For me personally, I've been a bit busy, as we've all been busy, hence why, we've not been able to post for the past 2 weeks now. But, everyone, just been a bit busy trying to get some stuff sorted out and yeah, so, happy to be back again and, hopefully we can keep giving you guys the good content.
Yeah, definitely. Just like Neel was saying, I'm baking here as well. I've got a fan right in front of me, trying to keep me cool as much as possible. I've got ice in the freezer, just bringing it out, throwing it on my top of my head, just to let it melt. It's freaking crazy over here. It's over 30. I mean, as we were discussing earlier, I mean, when was the last time we had a heat wave, like a proper over 30, a whole week, day after day? I mean, I've never seen it before. I don't know. Maybe I was too young.
For a week, I don't know, but we've definitely had one last year, but that was for a couple of days.
Yeah,
for a week,
yeah.
This is getting like, even the British people are turning red now. Like, it's a lot. And I don't know about you guys, but it's so funny how you'll see like roadmen out still in like puffer jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see the English people out with like the t-shirts over their shoulder and shorts. And you're like, what the hell is this country?
And there's always like yesterday I went to the supermarket to obviously having to wear my mask on and it was freaking warm, and then I saw this guy who had the mask on, gloves on, okay, safe, but then worst part of all, had a jacket over him and trousers.
Wow.
Whoa, that's a bit too much there.
Nah, man, that's too much. Nah, for me, like, me and my brother, we're going to the gym, and it's the funny thing is that in the gym they don't turn on the air condition, so it's boiling hot. Everyone is exercising. It's boiling hot. Everyone is sweating so much, and then obviously they're now trying to implement the 2-meter rules and everything in the gym. Imagine.
How's that working? As you went to the gym, how was that? The whole system.
Man, what they say is that in the gym they're like every time you use a equipment, if you use a bench, dumbbell, everything, the moment you finish using it, they've got like sanitizers everywhere, so you just immediately spray it down, clean it. Every single time you have to keep doing that, and they made a rule that you can't more than 2 people, like 2 people can't share a machine, or you can't share like a bench. You can't share an equipment. 2 people can't share an equipment, even if you're from the same household. So you can't use. Yeah, so you can't use. But I'm there like, how is that even possible?
It's still busy, right?
I know it's still busy because you walk by each other, you walk by strangers, every time. Yeah. So how is it not possible? So I'm like, I think yesterday they said one of the employees, they were like, I was trying to spot my brother while I was trying to do his bench press, and it's like, you can't you can't spot someone in the you can't spot someone in the gym anymore because you're too close to each other. But and obviously I said that, well, so you would rather have the person who requires someone to obviously help them lift up the bar or the equipment. Yeah. Rather have them die from the equipment falling on them than obviously them dying from coronavirus. so it's just silly, man. I was just laughing.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's the whole situation. I mean, it's not nice.
You could be coming back sweating though, Femi, like for that degree heat. Because I remember like being under on the tube in this weather when I was in London, just being like, what the hell, you walk into the air and you're like, oh, thank God, that's cooler. And also, I used to do like karate in London, and we were based above a swimming pool, and there was no air conditioning. And I used to come back after like 2-3 hours of karate, and I'm quite like active and stuff like that. I'd come back dead. I just want to sit on the sofa and do nothing, because you just gotta literally just drink shed loads of water, but you must be just dead for the rest of the day.
That's usually because that's why we tend to go. I think in the evening, and by the time we get back, I'm usually just so tired because you're just sweating, especially now that it's really hot as well. It's just like you're just sweating so much, and it's only as you said, Neel, you're just dead in the end, really. Well, wow. Oh, no, man. I don't know. Maybe it's global warming that's making the weather this hot.
You know what? I think this global warming thing might actually be true. You know.
Bro, it's crazy the amount of stuff that's happening. I mean, the UK is never this hot. Even people that aren't from this country are like complaining, because I was thinking about this. I was like, well, why? I remember when we used to know a Brazilian guy at university, and you're thinking he used to complain about the heat, and other people used to complain about the heat from like other way warmer countries. Like there was a guy from the Philippines that I was talking to as well, and I was like, well, where you guys are from, hotter climates, like way hotter, like 35, 40-degree climates, where it's kind of, this is the standard. So why are you suffering so much? Because they said the same thing. It's an island, so all the moisture is in here. Basically all of everything is designed for the winter. So the underground is designed to retain heat. All of our houses are designed to retain heat and not let heat out. So at times, and you probably walk into your house like, man, it's warmer than it is when we go outside. And then when we open the windows, it doesn't quite have that same appeal as it does when we go to other countries, or like Italy or Spain or something, where you open the window and
and there's a nice breeze
come out a little bit more. Yeah, you got that breeze. It's designed for that. So I was like, oh, that's a good point. But yeah, even people that I know are going, this is too hot. This is stupid now, because it's cold in the. It's not even that. To be fair, we've not had like a really really cold winter either. So things are just getting warmer and warmer.
That's right. I know. The winter wasn't that cold this year, from what I saw. I mean, it seemed okay. You know, manageable. You just wear a jacket, you'll be fine. But before, you used to have like extra layers on. You know, I remember winters before, but the summer, it's never been this warm. You know, it's ridiculous. Like I'm using 2 fans in the bedroom and to go to sleep, and I still struggle to sleep. I'm struggling to sleep. I don't know if it's the same with you two. I mean, I've probably slept 3-4 hours in the last 3 days, in the last 3 nights.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Like I don't even, I take off my shirt. No, don't use any bed sheet to cover my stuff. Turn on the fan. I usually put like a, frozen bottle. So I'll get like a bottle, fill it with water, put it up, put it in front of a fan, and then that's a homemade AC, and I just use that. I just use that because it's just too much, man. And the funny thing is, I think we tried going to shop to get like a portable AC, and they don't sell any. It's like it's so difficult to even, because obviously, as you said, everything is made for the winter, so they don't even sell. You can't go out there and be like, oh, I want to buy an AC. It's like, I think what we were finding was it air purifier? Is that AC? I'm sure that's not.
Not sure.
Yeah,
but
because that's
all taking some of the crap out of the air, which is not necessarily cooling it.
It's not cooling it exactly, because that's what we kept finding everywhere we went to look for AC. So it's like they didn't even sell it. So it's.
I've got a few. You can find a few on Amazon, but then obviously installing it, it's a bit.
Yeah.
There are those sort of like storage unit size where you have to fill it up with water, and it will help. You know, it does the job really well for a very too large of a room, but a room that can fill up 3-4 people at least. It can definitely work really well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that might be something someone could look into.
Yeah.
Because we always obviously, because now it seems as if obviously the UK's summer is getting hotter now. Every year is just getting more and more hotter. Yeah, it's getting worse now. So I think they probably should, if I was them, or I would try and make aircon to now become something more freely available, like how heater is. You can go anywhere and easily find a heater, but you can't easily find an aircon. Like, and the aircon is a lot more expensive as well. So if they can try and obviously, start making aircon a lot more cheaper, I think it would be a lot better, because now I think the weather is maybe changing now, maybe due to global warming.
Oh, there's a lot more stuff changing. I mean, we're now in recession, so.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How the hell is things gonna get better again? What was the last time? 11 years ago.
2008, and this is worse.
I know this is far worse.
Way worse.
Far worse.
It's just unemployment even at the highest. What is it? 3.9%, and likely the new data will probably say that is up to 4.5%. When that releases in sometime next week or next month. So it's ridiculous. And then the economy has shrank by 20.4% as well. So
wow,
everything's slumping.
Yeah, and for me, I don't even know how they're gonna be able to recover, really, because obviously on September the kids should start going back to school. Is that right? Because we don't even know, man. Because
I don't know if they're gonna go back to school. I mean, what the MP said about I think he manages sort of the education department, minister. He said that basically all the students who are, I think next week they're getting their results, especially A levels, and then I think the week after is GCSE. I'm not 100% sure. So those who are receiving their results, if they haven't passed, or their results aren't as good as their mock exams, they have the option to choose the grades of their mock exam or their exam final result. I mean, I don't know who hired these people to be running the country or whatnot. I mean, imagine. I remember when I was doing my mock exams, I was just reading the old papers, remembering the answers, and then rewriting the answers in those exam papers, and they were exactly the same as last year exams. I mean, that's what the whole point of it being mock exam. I mean, I didn't really revise, and I got 100%. So are you telling me that if anyone who cheated, or like I did during my mock days, managed to pass their mock exam with 100%, they can choose that as their final result? What the hell's going on, man?
Wow. To be honest, to me it just seems like this pandemic is just made everything so complicated. Like it's literally just scattered everything.
I mean, I agree. The thing is, Ro, I agree that the pandemic has destroyed the way things are managed now, but the people are still the same, right? Their brain cells haven't changed. It's actually made it worse. The way they're thinking and managing things. One moment they're saying, please, wear masks indoors or in shops. People who aren't wearing it still don't get charged or anything. They're just walking in like, I don't really want a mask. But then why did they leave it so late for those rules to be in place? And then things like the people going on holiday, where it's still rising again. We've got an upcoming second wave, and they're allowing people to go on holiday. It's like, well, if you're making a decision, if you think second wave is quite close by, then probably we should go back to lockdown part 2 and make it more strict, so we can end this pandemic. But I don't know how it's going to end, man. I mean, like New Zealand, they had 102 days without a case, and now they started up getting cases again. I mean, what is it? Refugees? How did they get it?
And are they allowing people to come into the country?
What, here?
No, in New Zealand. Are people allowed to come?
Well, they have proper strict rules in terms of not allowing anyone to go in and out. They've even locked down parts of towns and cities around New Zealand. So you know, certain parts of the country are in proper lockdown now again. And they are doing it very well. They're managing it very well. As obviously 102 days without a case, but something caused that case to increase, and they're trying to investigate what that was.
I think it's just exposing things that don't work. I think that's the issue, is that this current system has been not really serving people for that amount of time. Like you look at, for example, with the amount of wages have basically stayed the same since 2008, since the financial crisis, but we know things have all increased in prices, and we've not really had that much funding to help out. We're looking at like the things you just mentioned, like the exams. Like we all come from a BTEC background, kind of. We've done exams at like GCSE level, like A16 level, but then I think exams in general are just so outdated, and that's the way that you're going to remember things, just by remembering them and shoving the entire thing in your head and then spitting out in an hour piece of paper, an hour and a half piece of paper. I think is really dumb, because it's just not a proper way to test if actually somebody knows something. And it's what we were saying before, like it's not about what we know, it's not about what you know, because we've got the internet now. The internet knows everything. It's just, how do you access that information? How do you build something for your own and research it? And that's what's more important. I just feel like the exams is a complete, not waste of time, but it's a wrong way to look at it, because it's such a backwards entity where you get judged on an hour. You've got for GCSEs, and that could decide your future. And I just think that old system and the old way of working, where it's all like factory work and stuff like that, just needs massively changing. So I'm glad it's exposed all these issues, but what were the government really doing? If you look at some of the stuff they were doing during coronavirus, they were cancelling, they were taking away free school meals, like that was the main priority in this time to ease. And reading about like the quantitative easing that happened after 2008, basically that was taken, each household was taken basically the equivalent of £24,000 and was given to the top. It was the biggest transfer of wealth, I think, in recorded history, and some of it slipped straight under. And then the worst thing is, the Bank of England just went, we don't know where the money went. And this sounds like conspiracy theory stuff, but this is like documented stuff that's happened. So you're looking at this going, man, this is not right. This is not just. And again, if we're being screwed out of, they're taking stuff from our level, and then they're giving the money. We haven't got any money, and then giving us pebbles, and it's just not good enough. So you're gonna have to see a massive increase in the whole world's going to shift, especially in the UK, where the reason why we had a good economy for so many years, let's not forget, is that they took places like your and mine home country in Nigeria, India, the Commonwealth, and they put all that money and the taxes into the British system, which helped build the NHS, the welfare state, and all these other places, right? They had that excess of money. They don't have it anymore. Nigeria's got more independence than its own little country. The Caribbean's doing all right for itself. India's progressing in certain ways. So I'm wondering, what is Britain kind of here for? What values is it kind of instilled that's kind of still here? And people will say, well, freedom of speech and stuff like that. And you'll be surprised on what freedom of the press and freedom of speech. We're not like even in the top 10 for these things. You can't even be like, oh, well, that's the only reason why. So I think we're just going to have to change our whole way of and dynamic of how we function, because I think I was sending you this guys earlier. I just found an article where it was like one out of every 4 Londoners, so that's 2.2 million people, is behind on rent. So you'll see 2.2 million people, if that was true, and if the current schemes don't go through, will leave London. What the hell will that do to house prices and everything? Also, if you're there as a business, if I was still there and I couldn't go to the office, why would I be there? Because I would have, if I was still there, I would have saved £800 a month and moved back home. Because if I'm getting the same money for living at home, and I don't need to go to the whole point of moving to London, is so I can experience London life and work at the office. But if I'm not going to do that, then what's the point? So I think a lot of the frailties and a lot of the expenses that have been cut are actually like are being obvious, and we're actually seeing what is important in these times and how fragile some places are, like Britain and the United States and stuff like that. The countries that are really struggling with this.
Yeah, and I agree, man. And what they should plan to do is probably push out people living into London to parts of England to increase housing market in those areas, but also businesses probably in those areas, because all the focus is on London or Birmingham or Manchester at times, and well, even those two cities aren't part of the focus either. It's all down to London, and they can't handle all these population increases every day in that specific city. So what they have to do is try and push out people and businesses into the other parts of England and try and give them benefits in those areas. I mean, Leicester could be an area to look into. They tried to do it with Milton Keynes. It wasn't so good because they didn't really work on it as much. They just left it after doing some works there and housing and businesses there. They moved some businesses there, and then they just sort of left them on their own. So and then went back to London, and they said, London's the only focus. And what they need to do is try and change that. And a lot of people are trying to move out of London, obviously, because of the prices. But they need to install new ways. Just increasing prices and increasing difficulties for people's lives isn't a good thing at all, obviously. And what they need to do is try and push them out other parts of England. And look at Scotland; they're doing really well with some of their laws, and even their lockdown measures seems to be working. They haven't got as much cases as here, obviously, but even with 1 or 2 cases, they make it more strict. And in terms of the fluxation market, is ridiculous at this moment.
That's definitely true, as you guys are saying. Yeah, I just feel like I don't know, like obviously all the stuff that is happening now is sort of obviously, as I said, is revealing how fragile the system is, and obviously the system needs a lot of work. It needs to be improved, or it needs to be scrapped completely and then redesigned, or whatever they need to do to obviously sort out the current system. Because right now, obviously, from what we can see, as you said about the people not being behind on rents in London, that just goes to show that obviously London itself is a bit too expensive. That place is too expensive for no reason, And if more people now obviously leave the place, I'm not too sure would that mean that house prices will drop or rise due to people not being able to pay, due to more people now obviously unwillingly leaving London. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do you think the house prices would then drop for that? Because if people aren't obviously...
It all depends on the economy at that stage. Right now, the recession, we're in recession, house prices will likely fall, not substantially. Probably other parts of England rather than London. Probably like something like 5 to 10%, if that much as well. But then you're still, if you're talking about £1 million 2-bedroom house or apartment, decrease in price by 5 to 10% isn't really that much, is it? I mean, let's say it gets to 900,000 at the least. To the least to pay for a house, it's still expensive. I mean, it's you got to have some decent money or salary to pay that into the mortgage or a deposit. So yeah, it's very hard to tell. It depends on the economy. It depends on a lot of factors. before they can say, what the housing market can decide in terms of the price. It's very difficult, man. I don't know. At one stage, they were saying that a huge increase of mortgage has been given out to people buying houses this year more than ever, the last 3-4 years. So there are certain things that seems to be working in terms of people spending on houses, people buying houses, but in terms of the renting market, the rent market is ridiculous, especially in London. It is a huge price. People are paying sort of minimum or average, let's say, probably 1 to 1.5 a week. What's that for a Thai house? A very tight. Where is it? Like a penguin house.
Oh, really? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, it's remember these houses aren't that huge. What you pay for in other parts of the world for that small will be probably the cheapest thing you'll ever find. For that price, you could buy a 7-bedroom house in other parts of the world. So it's ridiculous, man. I don't know who built this system and stuff, but then you have to look at the population as well. London's population is 15 to 18 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means that sometimes the population is the highest in the entire of the UK, basically.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah, that's the reason why they're upping price. They're trying to make it. They're trying to push people out of London by this increase of price and hikes just to make it. But it's not working. That's the issue. A lot more people are still coming in here. A lot of people are unemployed. Unemployment, like I said, is at its highest at the moment. It's probably going to increase to 4.5% as well. And that's definitely not what the government want. The government want that tax to be paid into their account, and that's not going to happen.
And that's with furlough as well.
Yeah, furlough as well, losing a lot of money. This takeout, eat out thing, I don't know how that was supposed to work for them, because it's trying to help the businesses. I get it, but I think people are still afraid of going out to eat. I'm one of them. I don't want to go out and eat. I'd rather make food at home.
People are,
especially in this weather.
Yeah, especially this weather. I try to not turn on the oven, because if once you turn that on, your house gets warmer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I definitely know that. Yeah, well, I definitely feel like people are still a bit wary about everything. Obviously, people. I don't even know really, because you have people who still going to the beach and everything and don't necessarily care about the pandemic. I just think initially when the lockdown began, people felt like, oh, I need to go to work, I need to do something. I can't be at home and not do anything. And I feel like as time has went and and we were in lockdown for like 3 months, I just feel like people have kind of just gotten used to it now. I think people have just gotten kind of used to it and it's sort of made everyone slow down in terms of obviously how they live their lives. Everyone is kind of slowed down a little bit more, and people are just not as agitated as they were before. Hence why everyone isn't in such a hurry to obviously people need to pay rent and people need to obviously work to get money, but in terms of just being as agitated and as fast paced as before, I feel like people have kind of slowed down a lot more due to all what that's going on. That's my opinion anyway, but I feel like that's sort of what's going on. But hopefully in the future, once I don't know what 2021 will bring, but hopefully.
At this rate, I don't even want to know.
It's just so much.
Because
just deal with 2020 first.
Because they've postponed the Olympic to 2021, right? and everything. So so hopefully it turns out okay. Everything becomes better in 2021 and not worse. Because if you actually look at it, if you actually look at it, every month has something to offer. You know that.
Yeah.
Because remember when did that explosion happen? The Beirut explosion.
Yeah.
When did that is it this month or was
Yeah,
it
it was definitely this month. I think it was a week
yeah.
now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A week
So
is
it's
gone.
so we had the explosion on August now. So on September, I wonder what September will be.
I could see, the UFO coming down saying, "Wagwan people." I come in to save you because we're already having. I don't know. Have you seen the storms in Edinburgh? The thunder.
What storms? Really?
Oh, mate. People are
Wow.
calling it 4 as is coming down to Earth because it's the thunder is ridiculous. There's these huge thunders going on in the north parts of England and south parts of Scotland, and it's very scary looking at it actually.
Wow.
Some of the footage and pictures.
Wow. I don't know. Are we getting to end times?
Just let it happen. If we're in the end, might as well just end it today, right now. We're boiling. We're I don't know. Has anyone felt happy? I want to know if anyone felt happy this year. All we've done is just complain, and I don't like that. I want us to. I mean, even me. I mean, I bought the freaking Liverpool shirt, right? I told you guys. Yeah. One of my favorite clubs, right, wins the Premier League title after 30 years. Ever since I was born, obviously, it took me 5 years after I was born to start to notice their existence. But then I supported this team. The only trophy I've not seen them win before this season was the Premier League. So they won. Great, brilliant, and I said, okay, I'm going to buy this one shirt. They sign up with this brand Nike, or like Liverpool tend to call it. Others call it Nike. In the Scousers call it Nike. I don't know how they get that word, Nike. So they just sponsored Liverpool. Their price of the shirt is £99 for the Liverpool T-shirt. Okay.
So is that with the badges?
No. This is just the shirt without the badge.
Hell.
But I bought the cheaper version. Okay. And the cheaper version, you get the with the badges, etc. Still got to £100, exactly like £98 with my name, number, and the badges. The Liverpool, the what do you call it? The Premier League title badge and what they won, the Club World Cup badge. So I said, okay, this is my final time I'm ever buying this shirt, and I said, let me just get this shirt because this is the only thing I wanted it for. So I get it. It took I pre-ordered on the day that it got released. In terms of, it didn't get released. The shirt didn't get released. It got announced that this is the shirt with the pictures, and they said come and buy it. The website was packed. Like, you had to queue, and the queuing was like hours. Okay, so I managed to get on. I said, all right, I'm gonna go and buy it. I bought it on the day and pre-ordered it for the Thursday, I think it was, when it was released. So I waited, and it got delayed by, I think, 4 days. Thursday it got released, so I got it yesterday. Okay, so I get the shirt, and look at this. I didn't even know it was the shirt. I got a email to say my shirt will come, and I see this Jiffy bag, and I'm like, nah, this can't be it. This Jiffy bag, right, very small, has the shirt like thrown in the Jiffy bag. Okay, like a £99 shirt I'm talking about here, not some £5 eBay shirt. Okay, I didn't buy it on eBay. I bought it from Liverpool website. Okay, so this shirt comes, right. £99 I fucking paid for, okay? This shirt's got damaged inside a Jiffy bag with no promotion, nothing, no notice, nothing, no information. And I was like, nah, this has got to be some sort of, taking the piss. The shirt's damaged. How do you treat your fans, right? because bear in mind, without the Liverpool fans, I don't think Liverpool would have won the Champions League or the Premier League. This is how they treat him, by sending a shirt, right, £99 in a jiffy bag. Because before, when I bought the last shirt I bought, which was a few years ago, the brand was New Balance, apparently a more cheaper brand, but their quality was really good. They had a Liverpool bag, packaging with promotion deals inside and things like that made you think, oh, thanks, I actually sent them an email saying thank you for that. But this, I had to send them a complaint. And I was like, well, this year couldn't get worse, man.
They just care about money. They don't care. It's obviously made in for maximum profit. So exactly. they don't care. Especially these big brands. A lot of them still work in sweatshops and stuff. And it's not obviously good. The quality you'd think would be there, but they just care about volume. And they know this season, because you've won it and so many people want it, they'll let you get away with whatever. And that's that's the issue at the moment. So the only way you can do it isn't by not buying the shirt.
Yeah, but this is the exact thing, and the fact is that Nike sort of took advantage, because bear in mind, Nike just came in. The previous sponsors, who were New Balance, they were the ones with that brand that Liverpool won the title. So for Nike to come in and up the price by 30 to 40 quid, and then worst part is to even remove that Liverpool packaging with a jiffy bag. Well, I felt like, well, I'm probably supporting the wrong team here or something. This is not how they treat their fans, because Liverpool never been this bad. I think it's just Nike. I don't know if I should blame Liverpool, Nike. I don't know. Is it that the time period has been difficult for them to find some Liverpool packaging? I don't get it. It was just the worst thing I received. I was like, if I bought it from eBay, I expected this, but from Liverpool, no chance. Very disappointing. Yeah. I was like, well, if this is how they treat me, or let's say they treat their fans, I don't even feel like ever watching them again. Because that's how I felt like. It's like I wasted my money here.
What do you want? I know you're chatting shit, because next year you'll be watching them like no tomorrow anyway.
I will definitely watch them, but I like this. I was so excited for this show. I don't. Bear in mind, I hate the design. Okay, I don't care about the design. I just wanted the badges on it. But when I looked at it, it wasn't actually that bad. But then it was damaged, and it's just the way they treat you. It's just I didn't fancy that at all.
Nah, you can't. Obviously, because remember that not enough people probably complained in order for them to change it, because obviously out of all the people that would have bought it, I doubt a lot of people would even complain. They would just be like, they would just be happy enough that they got it. That's what. They won't be like, oh man, this actually doesn't look that good.
Oh no, in terms of the design, there is a lot of people complaining about the design. If you go on Twitter, Instagram, etc., there anything that has a Liverpool shirt, picture or promo, everybody's complaining. Oh, I don't like the shirt. Nike actually, made things worse. I preferred last season's shirt, etc. Which I feel the same about it. But I don't think anyone has made a complaint about the packaging. I don't know. I haven't seen that. I'm the only one here who's probably, posted it online or whatever and said, look at this. I don't know if there's been a huge disappointment in terms of that, but there has been a huge disappointment in terms of the design. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like they won't. I don't even think they would care really, because as long as they know people will buy it, it's like as you remember, you just said a moment ago that it made you feel like you're not gonna watch a Liverpool game again. But obviously, and Neel said by next year you're probably gonna be watching it, and you even yourself said yes, you're probably gonna watch it. So
I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not gonna be looking at Liverpool for their shirts. I'm looking at them for their football, but obviously the shirt is something for the fans to say, look, this is our shirt, and it looks really nice, etc.
Yeah,
it's more for the fans.
Yeah, but
Players probably don't give a shit. They're just gonna be like, look, I'm getting my money. I could, wear a knickers on my head. I don't care. I'm getting 200,000 a week. So
that's it. So that's basically what it is. That they know that no matter what, even if it's a blank white shirt, they know people will buy it. So it doesn't really affect them as long as you all go as long as you all go to their website and buy the shirt. That's all that matters. They've got their money. That it doesn't.
And they know they can up it. They know they can up it from 60 quid to £100.
Yeah,
and that's without the champion. For 100 quid for it, that's a lot of money for a shirt. I've paid that. I've not paid that money, but I've paid that for like 2 shirts. But that's because Leicester won the league and was in the Champions League. But even Femi, I know you don't watch football much, but you know the size of the Liverpool supporter base and how big that brand is. That's the reason why they jumped on it. Imagine how much money they sank into it just to have that. And they go, right, well, the club's going to pay. We're just going to pay for it with the shirt sale. So it's a no-brainer for us.
Yeah, bro, yeah. It's just a disappointment, but like I said, I'm not even gonna joke about it. What I'm saying now is serious. That I'm definitely not buying any other Liverpool shirt unless the design is something so amazing. But the only reason why I bought it, like I said, was just for that badge. But now I've got it. I don't know if they're gonna send me a replacement or what for the damage. I'm still waiting for. I've created a case with them. See what they say about it. If anyone wants to see, the pictures of that damage and the packaging, it's on our Twitter page. So check it out.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Another sad thing at the moment is also Halo Infinite got delayed, so Xbox has to probably cancel their launch this year. Because that was the only game, honestly. That was the only game they showcased. They were hyping. Now it's delayed for 2021. Well, they might as well delay the console release. Seriously, what games do they have except for Watch Dogs, Legion? What's the other game? Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and I don't know, Cyberpunk. They might as well cancel.
I know. Well, I think obviously for Halo Infinite, I feel like obviously they delayed it because the graphic, people obviously complain about how it looks like. It doesn't look next gen, and to be honest, it really doesn't look next gen, man. The graphics,
that wasn't. You know what's actually worse? They still haven't shown an Xbox Series X gameplay. That was on a PC, and that's how bad it was. So imagine on an Xbox Series X. Wow.
It would be trash. But I don't know, man. But for me anyway, what I know is that I'll be getting a PS5, and I'm probably not gonna get a Xbox Series X for some time, because there isn't any need to get it. There isn't any need to actually get it anyway, because all of the games because of the Game Pass thing that they're trying to do. All of the games that is going to be coming out on the Series X now anyway will also be coming out on the Xbox, on Xbox One. Yeah. So there isn't really any point of actually getting the Series X. So for now, I'll leave the Series X alone, and I'll just wait for the PS5, man. I can't be bothered with Xbox anymore or Microsoft anymore, man.
They we've all lost trust in them, actually. They're a bit like, what, Microsoft, even though they're American, they're a bit like America. They got all this hype about how everything's amazing, American products, etc., and they turn into absolute disappointment. Just like iPhone releasing every year, they hype their phone. Oh, we got the new camera. And when you try play around with that new phone, it looks exactly the same as the previous model. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but that's all someone can say about the Xbox Series X, man. Because they didn't put any incentives there of they didn't put any incentives for you to actually buy the console. So it's just like I think it's like they're just releasing it just to say they've got a next gen console. I don't even think they want people to even buy it. They just want to just be like, oh, we've got a next gen console. That's it. If you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't, we're fine with that as well. So, but I think, but I just think, everyone just stick with the PlayStation 5. Hopefully, the PlayStation 5 is not too expensive, because if it's too expensive,
well, especially with the demand for it at the moment. They can say, just like how Liverpool's shirt, as we were complaining about, they could just say, we know that the fan base is demanding for this product. It's sort of one of the best, one of the biggest demanding or anticipated hardware of this year. Let's just up the price to, I don't know, 500, 600 or something like
that. But if they do that, oh man, that would be painful. They would push. Because if it's that expensive, I don't know, man. I don't.
I'm just joking. I don't think. I think that,
I know,
personally, I think how the price will be. I think personally, I think it will be $450 for the disc version and £400 for the digital, and probably will be released on the week of the 19th of November. I think will be probably the release date for it. We'll see. Because I have been right before, so maybe second time running it will be quite nice.
Yeah.
We'll see, probably by then. Yeah. Because Cyberpunk is coming out on the 19th of November. So it will be either that and it's playable on the PS5. So probably either that date or the week after the Cyberpunk release will be the PS5 release date.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. We just have to, just wait and see.
Yeah.
So Neel, for the what was it? Now that obviously the lockdown has been eased up in Leicester.
Yeah.
How is it then?
It's been all right. Like, the thing is, it's still weird to like go outside and stuff, and especially in this weather, you don't really want to go out. You just want to kind of sit inside and just melt. But overall, it's just we've been able to go to shops and get and you can go to town and stuff, and it's going all right actually. But I can't really complain too much. But it feels good just be on par with the rest of the country now, apart from a few places. But we just know it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
They're trying to open stuff up, and I don't know.
Has the barbers open yet?
Yeah, I managed to. Well, okay, now it's open. I'll tell you guys. I couldn't. So Leicester barbers. Actually, I'll send you guys a picture afterwards. But my hair was long, dude. My hair was so long. After 4 months.
Before and after.
I'll send it you guys afterwards. On the and I might stick it on screen as well. But I went to the barbers in Loughborough, which is near Leicester. I had to travel half an hour out because they weren't on lockdown. And it was amazing the amount of people that worked, because that was the first time I've seen the outside kind of thing that wasn't the shops. People weren't wearing masks. People were just chilling. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna walk around with a mask. I don't care. So I went to the barbers that my cousins normally go to, pulled in, and the guy was like, so what do you want? I went, oh, I want a skin fade. I said, and he was like, oh, what kind do you want a zero? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I was like, mate, I said, just take it off my head. I was in despair almost, just get it off me. So he trimmed off, must be about, I'm genuinely going to say about 10 centimeters worth of hair. From the top. From the beard he trimmed up, but he couldn't take off the bottom bit because it wasn't COVID friendly. I'm like, look, just get it off my head. But I know if you guys get a side trim, where they put the fade line in, and you look at yourself, I'm looking at yourself with a massive head of hair, and then I'll try and send you guys now, and a massive head of hair, and then nothing else. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'll try and send you guys. I'm just no good at selfies kind of thing. But I just forgot before I was going in. I was like, that was my. I think you were able to see. That's my hair before. See on your phones and stuff. And then that was it afterwards. But it was a lot. to take off. But I was just so glad it only cost me 12 quid. But I'm like, oh, this is worth every bloody penny.
Your head looks like a helmet, man.
Bro, trust me. I had like an
literally
emo flip and everything. It was crazy. I had to wear a hat for all of my recordings, but like what I was doing before. But it was too long, man. It was too long to do anything with. But finally, after 4 months, my hair grows like crazy. So 4 months of not getting a haircut, it was my hair, like over my hair would come halfway down my ears, to the point where if I put in-ear headphones, my hair would come in, because of the way I put it in, it would come in my ears. And I was like, it was disgusting. So I had to put in-ear headphones in, then remove the hair out. Oh, it was fucking awful. Anyway, I've it's trimmed down now. I'm keeping the beard kind of trimmed up a little bit. But yeah, it's all good, man. That was the main thing. Honestly, that was the main thing, and just kind of. I mean, do you know what, the best thing is everybody's okay here in Leicester, and that's kind of from what it seems and stuff, people aren't even that. The hospitals haven't been increasing with that much. It's been pretty much the same rate as everybody else, but the infection rate's been higher. So people make it a pandemonium. I don't know why Leicester was targeted as like this place that was like Corona. We've got a massive Corona, because it's not honestly that bad. Things are starting to increase again, but it's just the way the society's changing at the moment. Like things are going to shift, and some people are going to be less risk. So I'd say to everybody, make sure you eat healthy, don't smoke, try and keep in a good physical condition, because if it does come, you'll have more chance of fighting it off.
That definitely.
You have to eat healthily, rather than being lazy, or anyone who's diabetic, or and you have any sort of risk factors, it's very difficult for them to manage it. But anyone who is healthy and able to get off the cigarettes and things like that will be brilliant for themselves. Or drinking alcohol, or anything that's affected.
Eating meat's another one, honestly. From I know you're gonna go, oh, my veganism stuff, but that stuff is honestly so shit for you. After looking into it, like the health environment, the health aspect, and also I think you guys have seen from last time, like the amount of viruses that's springing up in meat and poultry farms as well. That the workers are getting it. This passed through pigs and chickens and stuff like that, and that's just all over the place. So it's partly Corona that's gonna that was going to happen, and partly just because it's not good for you, and that shit does as much damage to you. Processed meat does as much damage to you as asbestos and smoking. So I'm like, shit me, that was a big factor when I found that one out.
I didn't know that. Whoa.
Yeah, man, it's classed as like the World Health Organization classes it as a grade 1 carcinogen, which is along the lines with meat, which is along the lines with smoking, asbestos, and I think a couple of others, but to like increase rates of cancer and stuff like that, because we're seeing it. Like a lot of people are saying, oh, like diabetes and stuff, oh, it runs in my family, so I'm going to get it. But you don't have to. That doesn't always have to be the case, or like cancer doesn't always have to be the case. Yes, the gene exists, but you have the controls with the food you eat to turn it on and off. And that's what I found was like super interesting, because I was kind of like, even like within the Asian community and within the black community, I know there's loads of like heart problems. These can all be they're all reversible. So I'm just like, man, if people just knew this shit, because it's silly how much suffering people have to go through, and what do? They stick them on meds. And this is why I believe like the Eastern way of medicine and stuff, because yes, the West has created all sorts of medicine, which is great, but it's also created this massive pharmaceutical industry to get people addicted to all sorts of drugs as well, and just pop more medicines which don't necessarily work, because it's just like, what do we do? Oh well, if it doesn't work, add some more. But I swear it's mostly to do with what you eat and how you take care of yourself has a massive impact on your whole thing. And that's why I'm kind of like, I think that's why even just vegans in general just a bit pissed off, because I was saying to you guys last time, 14 of the 15 biggest killers in the world are down to diet and can be reversed due to diet as well.
Wow, that's good then. But I never knew that. obviously, yeah, as you said that, obviously, most most people or most family obviously would have the gene of certain illness, but obviously they can prevent it by taking by not taking the stuff that would like trigger it basically.
Exactly.
So they can, if it's like people, maybe if someone is more likely to suffer from gout, then yeah, maybe eating less meat will obviously, you know, deter you from obviously having gout and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just
Even
to be
cancer,
honest.
man. Even cancer.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody says, "Oh, I've got breast cancer," and they're smoking. It's like, well, you don't. You go to them. Well, that's not helping. But it's honestly, it's the same with meat and stuff. But again, I'm not trying to judge people. Like, you should do this, you should do that, because I ate meat for 26 years of my life. This isn't something new that I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm better than everybody else. I'm just saying, look, I've found this information out, and I found it out way too late. But again, we all know that. Well, we don't know, all know, but this information is just, it's out there, but you've got to look for it. And that, I know that sounds like conspiracy theory shit, but at the same time, it's like a lot of the Indian culture and stuff is based around vegetables and stuff like that, and fruits and veg and stuff, and that's worked out great for us. But then now we've introduced more dairy and meat, and you've seen like diabetes go through the roof. You've seen cancer go through the roof. You've seen all these like lifestyle diseases just go to an all-time high. So when people say, "Oh, it's in my family," it means I'm going to get it. Well, not necessarily, because there wasn't this percentage of people with cancer, with diabetes 100 years ago. So it wasn't in your genes, because otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, this would be. It's not. It's a very modern generational thing. Like, how many people do you know from back in the day that had cancer and all this stuff, and diabetes was a great example of like your insulin shutting down. So
just
like
rapidly increased all of a sudden, and
exactly.
the diabetes, it's very difficult to say. Like, is it down to food, or is it down to stress, or
it's a bit of both. It's there are definitely factors. Stress is a factor as well. Yeah. So it's
my
just
mom's
the whole lifestyle
diabetic, and she doesn't even eat sugar because she doesn't like anything sugary. She doesn't eat anything that's sweet. But then it's very strange. But then she'll be stressed because of at time, specific moments she'll get stressed, and maybe that's the factor to it. I don't know. It's a very strange one, diabetes.
Yeah, but a lot of it is affected by what, as you can imagine, what you put into your body affects you massively, and we've kind of known that. I think we've kind of gone away from that because we've gone into this, everything has a medicine to cure it, and it's like, well, sometimes these things, instead of treating the diabetes, why don't you try and get the people to reverse the diabetes, but which is actually cheaper, but there's too much money in the pharmaceutical industry where they just want people addicted to these stuff and these medications to keep you hooked on it for life. Where this is just the way forward as well. So it's sad, but again, we are in this. I think, what was it recently? Like in the last few years, something we've seen people in the West actually the age rate has actually declined for the first time, I think, ever, because of obviously modern medicine and healthcare and stuff like that has increased that year on year over the last 5 years because of meat consumption, because of the drugs that are available as well. That it's actually, we've actually seen a decrease in, and that just people are becoming more unhealthy. The actual lifespan of a human has actually gone down. So we're definitely doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So people are dying earlier now than opposed to a few years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I personally think it might be the factor being, we're getting stressed from work too much these days. Whereas back in the days, you had a good, decent salary, worth enough to buy a house. You go to university or whatever, you had a degree, it was worth something. Now it's not worth anything. You keep working hard for a better tomorrow, and that better tomorrow never comes.
It's putting you in debt constantly as well.
Yeah,
you start, the first thing, you have to have a degree to be like capable, it's kind of the standard now is to have a degree. The standard for most jobs, if you want to move up, is to have a degree, but that puts you back 30 grand in debt. And then you got to try and pay that off, and then you got to try and go somewhere where the wages are stagnant and the wages haven't increased, but everything around you has increased, and you got to put a mortgage on a house, which puts you into more debt. So you're constantly fighting this battle where you're never free from stuff. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, this isn't right.
Oh, yeah, it's not. It's not. It just feels like that's this. It's just like that's especially in the West. It's just like everyone has to be in debt. Like that's the system. That's the system. You have to. If you're not in debt from school, you'll be in debt from your house. If you're not in debt from your house, you'll be in debt from your car. If you're not in debt from your car, you'll be in debt from your phone. So it's like you just have to be. It's like. And those are what obviously stresses people out, and everyone is stressed. You can see that as times go, as the year passes by, people are becoming more and more miserable. Like people are not as happy. I can remember back in the when I was about maybe 8 years old. I think maybe like 1990s. Stuff was still a lot better back then, because things were still good in terms of how obviously racism was pretty bad back then, but in terms of like just overall stressfulness of life, it's not as bad as it is now. People were still happy. If Christmas was to come, people were still very happy for Christmas and everything, and people were we're just a lot more chill. But now it's becoming things are getting more expensive
without actually getting any better. That's I think the main issue. Like things of a meal out and stuff, like the normal food shopping is I don't know how much it's increased, but it's definitely increased. Where the amount of pay that's actually gone up hasn't actually increased along to keep up with that. So that's what I mean. Like with Corona and the recession and everything, we're hitting a breaking point. So what are you going to do? Are you going to eventually put the people first at the bottom? And the thing is, I can't see them doing that. I can still see them demonizing poor people, giving tax breaks, not just tax breaks, but like not even an equal playing field to the top 1% or whatever, or the top 10%. They won't have an equal playing field. So then what's next? Because all you're going to see is that millions of people are going to be unemployed. And then what are you going to do then? Because they rely on us to pay the rent, because obviously they're the landlords and stuff like that. So if that all goes to crap, then what are we going to do? Then what they're going to do? Because they rely on us to buy their products and services. So they have to find a way of figuring that out, because it's not looking good. But I think it just needs to be wholesale changes. It just genuinely, a lot of the stuff just needs to be wholesale change, because a lot of the stuff that we've known for a while isn't working. And as you were saying, as you guys were saying earlier, has been exposed by this mentality as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's just very it's like when you have like a few people at the top who are just extremely greedy, and obviously want to make as much profit as possible, and then obviously putting the extremely, I don't know, maybe the working class or the people at the bottom in the extreme disadvantage is that's literally how the system is like constructed, So the higher you are, the more, the easier it will be for you. And obviously that's normal, but in a way it's still it is unfair that that the people at the bottom would suffer the most. The working class people would be the one that would get the most punishment from all the stuff that's happening in this pandemic now. Is the working class people that is feeling it the most, because obviously they're the one that can't pay the rent, they're the one that can't afford food and all those things. It's them that that are feeling it the most. So and obviously I think in America they have it, the stimulus check, and over here is furlough and stuff, and it's like the money in itself, especially for America, it's not even enough. I think they said their stimulus check is $1,200
a one-off payment. It's nothing.
Exactly.
But the big businesses got bailed out pretty much. The stock market got bailed out. So if that money was going to come back, I think it was going to be like 12,000 or 24,000 per household. What they should have got just equally across the board. But again, it's showing that these corrupt systems that we've known for a while that we couldn't do anything about is that when the inequality becomes too intense, you're just going to see mass rioting and mass stuff like this. And it sounds really bad, but at the same time, this is what happens. You know this is going to happen, but it's the people at the top that think, oh, we can just strangle it. But then if people can't handle anymore, then they can do two things. They can riot or they can leave. And when they leave and we don't pay taxes, then what are you going to do then?
Oh, it's crazy because also the other factor is that they've made pay rises or like 15% increase to workers who are doctors, dentists, and teachers, but not nurses. Even though the nurses are the main ones who deserve it the most because they've been there every day. Even now, every day they're going to the clinic. They're supporting those in need of help. The doctors are there, but they're not as much as the nurses. The dentists. I don't know what the dentists did during the corona. I thought they were shut down. The teachers, I'm sure schools were shut down, so I'm not sure about that. But the nurses are the most, important ones that should have received that 15% increase. But because they fall under the bracket, as you mentioned, the what was the word used?
What is it? The people? What the ones in the
hardworking? The hard workers.
The working class.
Essential workers.
Essential workers, or the hard working class workers. Yeah. They don't get that increase. That's like, well.
And do you know what the worst thing is? A, they have to pay for their degree. B, hundreds of thousands of people have been put off it every year now. C, the pay increase for a nurse is capped at 1%, which is below inflation. So what benefit is there to go and work for the NHS as a nurse?
Not really.
There isn't any
benefit. No, there isn't any benefit. And those doctors are, and especially dentists. Do you know how much dentists get? They're like 6 figures.
Yeah.
And they're getting a 15% increase over on that. It's like, come on, man, you're having a laugh.
Yeah. It's stupid anyway. But yeah. That's what I mean. So again, we're coming to a brink point where, okay, the economy, because it used to be, we can't pay them this much because where are you going to get the money from? But then if the economy's gone to shit, well, what are you going to do then? That's my thing. Then what now? Now you said all these things, we have to do austerity. It will boost the economy, and it's not boost the economy. And it's done this, and it's not, and they know it hasn't. So, I don't know. The demise of the West is real, and it's coming. So it was just a matter of time. But I think now this has accelerated it. We're going to see people that have had jobs, and people that are working class that are going to be hit the hardest. You've seen how many retailers and stuff have just shut up shop and have A, gone under, B, of saying, screw this, we're going to lose this amount of jobs. Like even Starbucks and stuff are saying, we're going to turn these into deliveries. And then you don't think that they're planning to bring robots in instead? If you're not face-to-face stuff, they're just going to bring them. It's like, it's the future is going to be the next 15 years. Where's the truth is for me, it's like, where's the jobs that are not going to be taken over? And I think one of the big ones is anything that's doing with face-to-face. So teachers, people don't want to really be taught by robots. Things like nursing as well.
I saw some of the AI technology they've created, sort of like a robot that looks and blinks like a real person, but they're just help desks. So if you need to speak to them, you talk to them, and they're sort of like having a Google Assistant or a voice recognition or a Alexa voice recognition installed, and you're talking to them, and they're replying back to you, clicking on a mouse like a real person, but it's not real. I don't want that. I want to talk to someone else because they're programmed and waiting for you to say a specific keyword that unlocks them to do a specific action. But I don't want that. I want a real person that feels, that understands me. Well, what am I going to do with a robot? How am I going to, fool around with a robot. You can't unless you hack it.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. To me, it just seems like obviously the introduction of robots and technology into the workforce. It's to just simply just replace the working class, because it's gonna, if you look at it, imagine you own a business, or you're one of them, not even own a business, you're one of those those massive companies, right? And you can, instead of having people instead of having people do cashiers and all of this, and let's take Tesco for example now. Instead of having people do the cashier, people do the work as cleaners, and work as the one that stock up the shelf, and pay them and have to pay them, you can just simply replace them with machines. And if you can replace them with machines, you obviously, all you just need to do is keep them maintained. You don't need to pay them, you just have to just keep them maintained. So in a way, that would obviously save those massive companies money, a lot more money. They would make a lot more profit, and they won't need to they won't need to waste time on people basically.
And also they're COVID safe robots. They're not going to spread COVID. They're not going to pay them pension, holiday pay, have 4 weeks off a year. They can work 24/7. So
I don't know.
It's a win-win, but it's
a win-win for them.
It's putting your emphasis into something that's better than just into something that's, because at the end of the day, something that robots can't do is create. They can't create to a human specific thing like we, especially something like that we can do. So that's why I say try and get something into a field that is more inherently creative, that you have to use your not just critical thinking skills, you've got to use your ability to think on the job and or create or have an idea and turn it and twist it and into implementing something that you've actually got that's different. Do you know what I mean? But again, it's down to how humans interact with humans, and I think the best way to do that is through we've seen it before with factories. A lot of factories are shut up because they've been replaced with robots, and because robots are better at doing their job. And you'll have a few humans around just to keep an eye on the robots, and they'll just be like IT technicians, just to repair, do software updates, and then just type it. A machine went down, okay, I'll go fix it, like an engineer. That's about it.
That's about it.
Exactly.
I
think it's looking like, obviously, maybe 10 to 15 years from now, or 20, manual labor jobs will eventually fade out. I feel like, and they would obviously, manual labor jobs will be mainly robots. So, and if that's the case, then most low working class people will then need to obviously find another route. They would then need to have to push into going into different fields of jobs, because if manual labor is no longer needed, if people aren't needed for manual labor anymore, then it's just going to be jobs that requires you to as you said, like, think on your feet and be able to make those really critical decisions. Those are the jobs that would be available, basically. So it's the introduction of robots is a good. To me, it's good and it's bad at the same time. It's just it's you can't always have everything. You can't always have everything as a positive. So I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like we just have to wait and see, really. But to me personally, I just think, having robots replace people will be positive, but will also be very damaging for the working class as well. So it's, I don't know.
I think the working class will always be the ones, unfortunately,
the first.
To feel it.
They have to feel the punch as hard as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it's just a shame, but I don't know. But I think, if any family that's within any family now, the best advice would be that to just try and start moving your family upwards. Obviously, it's not as easy as it was before, but the best thing now is to try and just start moving your family up and start, if it's through education, you push them through education and try and push them up, so the next generation will be higher than the previous, and just keep doing that. And hopefully the future generation will be will be extremely great. Who knows? But that's the advice I can personally give from what I'm seeing, and how the world is going, and how things are slowly changing. It's I think families just need to start upping themselves, or it's going to be like the Hunger Games. where you have the extremely poor people in one place, and then the extremely rich people in the other. So it's
that's the thing. I thought that was the whole point of the SpaceX program, was to create this travel for the rich people to manage to go to another planet, whereas the poor are all going to be suffering with this pandemic.
And then leave all of us here.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what was that movie, Elysium?
Yeah.
I watched it. Yeah, Elysium. Yeah.
Man, that's the first time I ever saw like subtle racism in a film. Like that was that obvious. And I remember coming out to you, remember thinking, hang on, all the Mexican people are down on Earth. The only white guy goes up to Elysium is white. The brown guy that is the leader gets taken out by a white person, but it gets taken up by the white person who's the evil one. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. And all the people on Elysium were all white. And I'm like, man, I remember thinking, this sounds like conspiracy, but it's so obvious once you look at it like that.
Exactly. And in fact, I can't remember what was the main reason that they left. I think it was a pandemic as well, wasn't it? Or something.
They just wanted to create a perfect world, and that perfect world is white. All the brown people and whatever were left down on Earth.
Yeah.
Mexican and brown,
They have a song off A Tribe Called Quest, the last album. They've got a song. The hook is there's no space travel for M words. You're stuck here, because they were all talking about they're not gonna, if they all find a way to space, they're not gonna take any black people with them. We're just stuck on this planet. We're gonna have the last choice of stuff here, which is I thought was quite good.
Oh my days, man. I don't know, man. Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
We'll have to see, but it will end it here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it all the way through, really appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have cooler climates. We'll be able to have visuals and stuff more, but we're working on getting this improved. We'll try and get the next episode to you on next Friday, so make sure you stay tuned. So make sure to like, subscribe and everything, and I'll see you all in the next video. So from me, Dewan, Femi, it's goodbye.
Thank you, bye.
Goodbye and take care.